AJ Styles. Had you realised that he is actually the most popular wrestler in the history of France? Because he came out and the crowd sang his song for like 2.5 minutes before they went to commercial. He got like the Hulk Hogan treatment out there. So there you go. AJ's very, very popular in France.
Well, yeah, they've adopted him as one of their native sons, I guess.
I guess it must be that silky hair that they appreciate. Or that maybe no, never mind. I was going to say something else.
I'll say one thing about AJ Styles. They could have picked a lesser wrestler, but they didn't. They picked him. They chose him. So, and I think they made a good choice. AJ's a good guy, tremendous in the ring. Now, when I was in TNA with him, he had an opportunity to go to WWE then, and he turned it down. You know why he turned it down?
Tell me.
Money. They didn't give him any money. You know what they wanted to give him to go into NXT? What do the NXT people make?
Oh, they can make some really low money, I think, still. As we say, main roster nowadays is $350, but NXT, you could really lowball people if you wanted to.
It was like $500 a week or $600 a week. He said, no. And what he said was, hell, I can make more than that just on independents. He said, I make 3 times that on just the independents. So I don't blame him for not doing that.
That's why he left TNA as well, is because Dixie tried to cut his deal by like 60% or something like that. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what kind of deal did he have before?
Well, I don't know the numbers. I just know that they wanted to cut his contract in more than half. And he was like, from day one, AJ Styles was like the franchise player with TNA. And
well, that's what they intended for. That's what they intended for him to be. I saw AJ one day, and he was sitting there, and he looked like he was really teed off. And you can tell when somebody's teed off because I said, "Man, you okay?" He said, "No, not really." He wasn't mad or anything. See, I think AJ had a good setup. His wife was a teacher, and she had a good job. So it's not like if he didn't have this job at TNA, it really wasn't going to affect him that much. Because I think she made enough that they could still live till he found something else. And he told me, he said, these people here, they're idiots, complete idiots. I said, who? He said, you know who I'm talking about. He didn't say Dixie's name. I says, what's it about? He said, man, I don't even want to get into it. I said, well, don't get into it then. So, but now that you tell me, and when somebody sits around like that and they're teed off, it's usually over a financial matter or a money matter. And he was supposed to be the face of TNA, and I could not believe that they wasn't treating him better and with more respect. So when he felt disrespected, he said, okay, I'm leaving. Then he went to Japan for a couple of years, I think. What was that company he went to?
New Japan.
I don't think so.
AJ did wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom, so I think he was associated. I think he pretty much went everywhere. But AJ, but yeah, he was almost like Cody Rhodes before Cody Rhodes. He sort of remade his name on the indies to the point that WWE couldn't ignore him. And I think he signed in 2016 with WWE. And kept his name as well. Because at that time, they were trying to rename everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how could you rename anything else? He had the words A and J, in massive tattooed ink on his ribs.
What if they called him J.A. Manners instead of AJ Styles, his Manners?
So just the politest wrestler?
Yeah, just he kept the 2 first initials, but just the reverse, J.A.
So it'd be J-A-M, so Jam.
Yeah, Jam. That'd be a good name for him.
Right.
But he was somebody asked me one time, said, where did AJ learn all this stuff? I says, I think he's somewhat of a gymnast too, and a good athlete. And I says, well, I guess he saw this stuff. But some guys, when they get into wrestling, they have just a built-in barometer over what it takes to be successful in wrestling. And it's okay if you know the moves and even know where to put the moves in. But it's how you tell the story. And I heard AJ do an interview the other day, and his interviewing abilities have increased 500% because, he was having trouble doing interviews then. But as time went on, he learned more and more on his own. Because I've never heard of somebody taking interview classes. They got them. But somebody in wrestling teaching somebody else how to do an interview, you do an interview the same way you talk, basically. They say, be yourself, okay? And as he went on, he got better and better and better, because before he was stopping and starting and looking like he was, looking for something to say. But the last interview I saw him in, he was great, very good. So my hat's off to him.
There was one quite recently where someone was making fun of him for, I think it was like signing a contract or something, and they said to him, what are you going to do, put on your little glasses and read it? And then the interview continues, and then right at the end of it, AJ Styles pulls out his little reading glasses and starts reading the contract. Hey, he's nearly 50, your eyes start failing at that point for the reading.
But I think he learned all this stuff, especially the moves, on the independents. But see, that's very rare for a guy he trained himself. I don't think anybody else trained him. He just watched tape. And I think he watched a lot of Japanese tape. And he put it all together, and he developed his style, and he was very, very good.
Apparently trained by Rick Michaels.
Who is that?
Don't really know. I think he was.
You know what that means to me?
Indy.
Rick Michaels, he probably just owned a ring that he could get in and bounce around in. And he said, how's that, Rick? Oh, good. Just keep it up. And he probably went in that ring and he probably took somebody with him, and he would spend hours and hours in that ring. But to practice a move like AJ does, that's a lot of abuse on the body. So, and he knew really when to put these spots in and when not to put them in. But they have to be, just to practice this, you have to be, I'm going to say, body appropriate, because don't do it over and over to hurt yourself. Do it because he had the right idea. I think he would pull a landing pad in the ring, because you can't take these bumps over and over again in practice. You're going to hurt yourself. So I think he would pull a pad in there and learn how to exactly what to do on the flip or whatever he did. And he got it down pat.
This will be interesting. This will be interesting for you. So Rick Michaels apparently trained AJ Styles, but who trained Rick Michaels? Bobby Fulton, Ricky Morton, and Ted Allen. So, you've got to get some good information from those.
Oh, yeah, you would. You would.